664. Reggie McClurkin is not here right now, but he may be joining us today. But I'm here with Archbishop Daryl Chase and Monica Ojo, and we are glad that you could join us. But before we get started, I want you to make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to all of our channels here on Believe Broadcasting. Make sure you tell somebody, and thank you all for supporting, because we really appreciate all of your shares, likes, comments, all those things, contributions, because we are a community, we're family, we're trying to make things better, and we want to be able to have the solutions that need to take place in our society. There's a lot going on, and we're going to talk about it. So let's just jump into it. Hey guys, how you doing today?
Excellent. How about yourself?
No, good to see everybody.
Yes.
Yes.
Good to see everybody.
Yes, it's good to see you guys. It's been a while. We've been since we've been together. We've had a lot of things going on in our families, which I'll talk to you guys at the end. I'll just bring it up so you all kind of know what's been going on with us. But we've been going through the storm and through the rain, but we keep on moving through, and we want you all to do the same out there, and we're praying for you guys as well. Well, I want to get into it because it's really a really important day after the elections, the midterm elections, the primaries. That is, we had the Democratic and Republican primary. All eyes mostly on Texas, where Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett was going up against State Representative James Talarico. Talarico did win the vote, but there was, of course, no shortage of controversy when the Republicans decided that they did not want to enter into an agreement with Democrats and carry on the voting structure which they had in place, where you could basically vote anywhere within your, was that your city or district? What was that, Monica? Was that
okay? In Texas, you can vote anywhere in the county. So they have super like Travis County has maybe 5 or 6 locations that you can vote in. Williamson County, they all have different. So as long as you're registered in that county, you can go there during the early voting. But on election day, you have to go to your polling location. Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah.
So that caused a lot of confusion, which was the goal, and that caused a lot of people who were trying to vote to be turned away, sent to wherever they were being assigned to go to, which could have been clear across the other side of town or whatever. And Representative Crockett petitioned for there to be an extension by 2 hours of the vote, and it was first granted by a judge, but then, of course, Ken Paxton, tricky Ken, he jumped in there and he got one of his buddies on the Supreme Court. By the way, Ken Paxton is the Attorney General, which was kind of the same thing that happened to Stacey Abrams when I can't get his name out, the current governor. He was the Secretary of State and he controlled voting. And here we go. So since he got them to jump in, he got the judge to issue a stay of the order, and the confusion, it just lies into bringing the election into question, which is a goal of the Republicans, because if they can claim that the elections are not reliable, then they could easily say that there was fraud, cheating, and all this other stuff. So if things don't go their way, so they have an agenda, either, regardless of the outcome, whatever the outcome is, they have a way to spin that outcome with the chaos. But let me play Jasmine, Representative Crockett's reel that she posted this morning. I want to give her some love, give her some flowers, and let it come in her own words. And then we're going to talk about it a little bit more on the other side. So let's listen in.
I know it's Good morning, y'all. I know it's super early.
She had a quiet spot there on it when I was watching it, so we're gonna get past that.
Words can't express how excited you made me as I was out on the trail, working to stretch people's imaginations. It's clear that we still have a lot of work to do, even within our party, about making sure that we invest in kind of just doing the right thing sometimes. It's all good though. No matter what, whether it's Kim Paxton or John Cornyn, anyone would be better. I'm just saying. So again, I just wanted to say thank you specifically to the people of Dallas County. I love you so very much. And I woke up still heartbroken about everything that took place. I've got your emails. We received your phone calls about all of the confusion and the many people that just didn't get to vote. We have to fix this going forward. We should not have people being disenfranchised in 2026, even in Texas, specifically in a Democratic county. It breaks my heart. At the end of the day, we were about to file a lawsuit so that we could keep the lines open. The county party chair got it done before we did. And, you know, the judge did the right thing. Texas Supreme Court stepped in. So I just wanted to say again, thank you. I am back to work. I am proud to serve Texas 30 until January of 2027. And then let me send mad love to my pastor, Pastor Freddie Haynes, who will be the congressman for Texas 30. So God bless y'all.
Okay, so you know, I felt her tears today, but she fought valiantly in a circumstance of which they would not. You know, we know how it is for just a Black person, period, trying to break through, let alone a Black woman. But she did fight valiantly. You got to keep on fighting, keep on going. But we do send our love to her, send our prayers for her support, and we just are going to continue to deal with the issues. Now, to the whole point, and we're going to call this segment the "Let Manika Cook" section, because one, she knows, she's from the area.
I have something to say.
She got something to say.
Come on, there we go.
but we're looking at the fight, and Texas has become the epicenter of this fight on voter suppression, controlling the elections. All of these things are wrapped up into this, and what we want to do is kind of really look at this. This was all about getting rid of her, period. so let's kind of be clear that this was a hit job from the beginning when Trump put on the board to have them to get the 5 seats. And then she made a strategic move to say, well, since you're trying to eliminate me this way, I'm going to pivot and run for the Senate. So this was all about her, in my view. You can correct me if you guys think I'm wrong, but I think this was always about her. It was always about silencing her or marginalizing her. But what they don't realize is, I think that, because what I understand from what I've heard about her is that she necessarily did not have long-term plans to be in Congress necessarily. She had other plans and bigger fish that she wanted to fry. But they may have accelerated that calendar, for all that they know, because she is, in the words of me being the capitalist, she is marketable. so since she's marketable, you you might get you might get more than what you bargained for in this case. Before I let you go, Monica, I'm gonna let Bishop get a word in, because I'm gonna just sit back and let you talk in a minute. Bishop, I'm gonna do like we say in church. You got 2 minutes.
I'm not even going to say that. That yes, it was about silencing her. We knew that since last year, and to me, it's a shame that in 2026 we still have to deal with this kind of nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
I believe personally that the two-party system is a wreck. I believe that there needs to be a true reorganization with some true moral and ethical values in place that would ensure us, that proper people are put into key positions, not because of wealth, not because of status, but because of righteous standing. But how can you do that in a country that was established in unrighteousness? And I'm going to leave it at that.
Right.
Madam Mayor, go ahead. I'll move back up, because I'm waiting for you.
Yeah, let me
I see you coming.
Yeah. Let me put her up on the screen.
Go to your back.
I'm just gonna sit back. I'm gonna just do some coding while you talk.
First, I want to congratulate Reverend Frederick Haynes III.
Yes.
He is the pastor of Friendship West Baptist Church in Dallas, Texas. It's in South Dallas, and I know him. But every time I look at him, I'm like, my God, this man is aging backwards. So he did win the congressional primary. That makes him the presumptive nominee for Congress. So I'm really excited about that. I haven't really looked at the lines between Colin Allred and Jasmine Crockett, because he is in that same area. He may be part of that, but because of his popularity and because of his standing in Dallas, he is going to win that election. So the second part of it is, before I go to Jasmine Crockett and Colin Allred, who I think did an amazing job by dropping out and passing the torch on to Jasmine Crockett to go and run, for the Senate seat. I want to focus on James Talarico, because he is a product also of redistricting in the area. The area that he previously served was served by Donna Dukes for a long time, and then a couple of other people came in. But basically, that seat encompasses, last when I was there, it encompassed a suburb called Pflugerville, a little bit of Round Rock, and East Austin, which at the time that I lived there, it was a majority Black district. So Donna Dukes held that position at least 20 some odd years before she was ousted. So I've seen that district change tremendously. And just by looking at the fact that he represented 50 at that time means that there was a significant shift in the population of people in that area. I think his last district, it was redistricted, and now it's 52. But basically, in terms of the state rep positions and the congressional districts, there have been significant redistricting in Texas that really needs to be reviewed. But when I started looking at the polling with Jasmine Crockett, I was hopeful that she'd be able to turn out the electorate in Dallas. I was just hopeful, okay? And hope goes a long way sometimes. But I know the Democratic Party in Texas. I know it very well. This is the part, the reason why we haven't won an election is because it's really Republicans running the Democratic Party. I'm just saying. And the second part of it is that you have white liberals that are that are really trying to control their portion of the party, the environmental part, whatever their focus is. And in Texas, it tends to be environmental issues. It tends to focus around abortion rights. It doesn't have that same issues that African Americans and Latinos are trying to support. And so you really have a strong friction and faction in the party. But with the Jasmine Crockett race and her running for state senate, because I haven't seen anyone outside of Royce West really run for any U.S. congressional seat. He ran for a congressional seat. He didn't win. But Jasmine Crockett running for U.S. Senate, it did bring out some things, because all of a sudden I started seeing all my friends that are white appearing or Latino, all of a sudden talking about the fact that Jasmine Crockett was not electable. And that is code word to me, because of the fact that she's African American and Black. And I will say a lot of African Americans felt that way as well. But where her stronghold was in Houston, the Austin area. Some people will argue with me. I'll say El Paso, but Houston is one of the largest areas where you have your African American community that's been there since the 1700s and 1800s in that area there. And then, of course, Austin, and then the Dallas area, where you have a significant number of African Americans. And that's where we saw the challenge with the polls. And so you have this faction here, and all through the time I'd been watching the social media and really just kind of get into arguments with some of my friends, because I'm like, well, why do you think that she's not electable when we have not elected a Democrat statewide in over 30 years? And that really resulted, there has not been anyone statewide since Ann Richards. Let that marinate.
Right.
And that was in the 80s. In 1990, they voted in to run the entire Texas Democratic Party, Molly Beth Malcolm. She was a Republican 2 years prior, and now she's running the entire state party. So this is how they operate there. But then, even within the party, because I want to caution everyone that there is bias and racism, even in the Democratic Party, and as well as the Republican Party. Republicans are doing it with their policy. The Democrats do it with different issues, because you'll have a white and a Black Democrat, but they have two separate issues that they're working with.
Let me stop you there for a second.
Yeah.
Because that has been a topic of discussion for the past, I'd say, 5 years. That has been more and more. It's gotten traction within especially the Black Democratic Party side. Within the Black wing of the Democratic Party, because you have these consultants. You don't hardly have any Black consultants.
Right.
Shout out to Roland Martin, who has always talked about that. They have all these people that are coming in, and they don't even know how to position the Democratic Party based upon its most loyal and most powerful constituents. And they're just handing out money and checks to the white established firms and groups, and that then they're framing the agenda outside of a winning agenda. Sometimes people feel like that they're just basically, like you said, double agents, helping the Republicans. I like what somebody said. They're like the Washington Generals playing the Harlem Globetrotters. They turn the Democratic Party into the Washington Generals. Just there to lose, to make the Globetrotters look good. What do you say on that one?
Well, I say that is absolutely truth. In Texas, it is absolutely true. And really, it's that way all over. But you have a state, you have the southern state, and you have the party, and you have African Americans that join the party that are really the true bloc. They're really the only bloc that matters, that matters in Texas. Because if you don't have the African American vote statewide, you're just simply not going to win. Okay. Right. And so what's happening is that within the Democratic Party in Texas, their goal is really to tamper the African American vote because they want their candidate to win to support the issues that they are concerned about, whether it be abortion rights, whether it be this, that, and the other. They care less about the African American vote, except maybe a couple of weeks prior to the election, they'll do the standard. We'll go to a church and stand up and give a few dollars in a donation to the church. I mean, that's really what you're going to see, and you're going to see that in this election. Okay. So, but it really came out this time. It really revealed itself what their playbook is. And this is the Democratic Party. We knew Paxton was going to do something. We knew that they were going to do it. We thought it may be in Houston, maybe in Austin. They did a little bit in Williamson County. And I have a theory about that. But Williamson County is just outside of Austin.
I wasn't
Okay.
expecting something to this level until the general, though. I
Well,
mean, they dry ran it right away.
But see, they're scared. This is what it is. Remember, you're dealing with a party that tries to hamper the African American vote. So where African Americans are strong congressionally and statewide is like in Houston and Dallas. So they're kind of running the show in those areas where you have your congressional districts and you have your state representatives and possibly even a couple of state senators. But on the statewide level, they don't have a familiarity with African Americans because they could give a crap about what we care about. And what we're trying to do is maintain our civil rights, maintain our voting, our right to vote. We're trying to maintain our abilities to live, DEI, whatever it is that's going to empower and embrace us. And Texas is the historically underutilized business program, the HUB program that he took out. Those are issues that are concerning to African Americans because it impact our economics. Okay. The white liberals that are part of the party in Texas, they are white women typically. You have some white men that are in there. You have the Latinos. They can go either way. Yeah. But, they're their own thing. But they're not a block. I will tell people right now, and I love my Latino friends and everything, but you're not a block because you're too split. You're going to go either way, one way or the other. But I guarantee you a lot of them were not voting for Jasmine Crockett. Okay, so probably
I heard that a lot of them went Talarico because they're not going to vote for a woman. That's a big part of what happened to Kamala Harris. They said that a lot of Latinos.
Well, no, they're not going to vote because she's black. So
there's always going to be an issue when you're a minority. Especially when you're talking about these big elections. I don't care what it is. There's obstacles that have to be overcome if you're black, whether you're male or female.
Right.
So, we really got to put this thing in perspective when we come, into a national mindset and understand that all of this is being worked against us collectively, even within our own party.
It's an anti-black rhetoric.
Yes. And so
I have to say
until we wake up and smell the coffee, and this is the difference between now and 50, 60 years ago, 60 years ago, is that they made things happen. We think we're doing something. No, we need to go out there and we need to take what we need. So me personally, I'm tired of protesting. I'm tired of the kumbaya moments and the picket signs. No, what we need to do is we need to understand that we have power within ourselves. And until we get together as a people, we are going to continue to lose the little power that we gained 60 years ago.
This is true. Yeah, absolutely. This is true. But in Texas, there are 12 million African Americans. Okay. There are 12 million.
It's the largest
population of African Americans in the country. Okay.
Mhm.
And so the block is definitely there. We have them, and the majority of them are going to be Democrats. However, they are Democrats that have a special type of agenda. Then you have your Latino people that are there, and of course, they're probably looking at immigration. Some are looking at immigration. Some of them don't care about immigration because they've been in Texas forever, and they will go one way or another. A lot of them are, church going people, so they're going to support the Republicans as well. Like I said, there is no Latino bloc that you can really count on. The only true bloc you can count on is the African American bloc, and that is what Paxton and Abbott and Trump focused on. And I want to just unpack it about the reason why he chose Dallas County, because if you've worked in politics in Dallas County, you know that Jasmine Crockett is from Dallas, but she's from South Dallas. So she represented. She was she was the heir apparent of Eddie Bernice Johnson, who represented that district for for decades. And before she passed away, she passed the crown over to Jasmine Crockett, and of course she got into office. That is South Dallas. I've worked in politics in South Dallas, so I know what the struggles are, because Dallas is a very big city. So when you start moving election locations, it becomes a big deal, because oftentimes they're part of a Souls to the Poll program, the mass transit is taking them to the polls. It's always something. So there's a reason why they asked for the polls to be open an additional 2 hours, so people could really navigate. It really takes a good while to navigate even around South Dallas. So
see, they know,
they knew.
especially in a city that
Yeah,
has population density,
right.
that you can be
Yeah,
an hour getting from one part of town to another, depending on
absolutely.
traffic.
Or you
And
can be an hour away from going to anywhere in South Dallas, which is where her stronghold is, and that's where the majority of African Americans live. But people were coming from all over the county to participate in the election. But the
right,
second part of this is that the polls were just absolutely wrong, and I knew they were wrong, and that's why I always consistently said in my post is that you have to deduct 5 to 7 points from the African American, because you have to focus on the fact that there is white fragility out there.
hmm
They had and white women consistently said this. White women,
yeah,
and I'm calling them out in this as well, because they are the cause reason why we have Trump in office a second time and the whole thing. But the thing is, all of a sudden there's a qualifier. Well, who is electable? I like Jasmine Crockett, but she doesn't set the right tone. Or is she electable? Can she be elected on a statewide ballot
hmm
as the candidate? And the
right.
answer is she is just as electable as James Talarico, because James Talarico is going to lose. And I will
I have
say
a
that right
question.
now. And let me just say this one part here, Archbishop.
Mhm.
Let me tell you why. Because of what happened in Dallas, you have now disenfranchised the vote, and African Americans are going to stay home. I'm going
That's
to tell
what
you
I
this
think.
now.
I think that
They
was the
are
plan.
going to stay home. And let
I
me
think, yeah,
and I'm gonna tell you why, because you all don't live in Texas, and I've lived in Texas for 20 some odd years. But Texas is a freaking mecca, okay? No
mhm.
matter who's in power, no matter what's going on, everything is available for people. People ain't suffering in Texas, okay? I mean, if
Oh
they
no,
are, no, yeah, yeah, yeah,
I,
they're
I
not
go.
suffering.
I've
Yeah,
been down. I've been down there, and
yes,
I actually stayed on Fort Hood for a while when I was young,
yes,
and it was
yes,
a ball. I had a ball then.
yeah,
I've gone down there for conventions.
yeah.
I've had a ball every time I've gone down.
Yeah, they
Uh,
are not suffering.
you
Yeah, the
know,
homes are cheap. I mean, they've gone up
the
now.
houses are cheap, no state tax, no state
Yeah,
income tax.
no state
Uh-huh.
income tax. There's plentiful jobs. The market is good. The only time you really suffer is if you're suffering from some extreme mental illness, drug addiction, or so on and
Mhm.
so forth. but the average person that's voting is not. That is the reason why you have such a lower voter turnout, because they're not impacted whether it's a Republican or Democrat coming into office.
And
But
the beef is
yeah.
excellent.
I believe that African Americans will say at front face, or at least the leaders of the party, "Oh, we're going to support James Talarico." But I am going to predict right now you're going to have the lowest voter turnout. And for you to win statewide in Texas, you've got to energize the African American vote. And every time consistently, Texas has an election where you have a candidate that could really, really win. They do something like this. The white fragility sets in, and they do the power play, because at the point of this, the Democratic Party wants to maintain a white control of the party, and they do not want African Americans to participate except to bring the vote. So that is my feeling on it. I worked in politics in Texas for years. They have a problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you said something that was key and pivotal. Is you said they want to deem her non-electable.
That's what they said, all of them.
And because she doesn't present the right look or presenters
Color.
So there's three factors to that. The first and major factor is her color. Pair that with she's a black female. That's number two. Last but not least, she has demonstrated that she is actually the white man's nightmare.
Absolutely.
Because she's outspoken and will get you to the task of the paper and keep you on facts.
Well, she'll call you out for your bull job.
Exactly.
They can't control her. That's what it is. They don't know how to control an African American woman.
Yeah. That's the problem.
So
to be honest, we need 20 more like her.
Absolutely.
So here's the thing though. Where do we go from here in regards to the Jasmine Crockett's of the world? Because one, we can't let her fade into the black, which I don't think that she has it in her to do so anyway. But I'm just thinking this through a little bit. So you have where they wanted to defang her, and on the surface it looks like that they did, to be honest, the way it looks. Now I have confidence in her as a fighter to find a way to keep her voice front and center. I find it very interesting that two parallel universes are going into the same abyss, not abyss, but into the same realm. It was just a year ago we were talking about bad built bleach blonde body, whatever, with her and Marjorie Taylor Greene, and now both of them are going to be out. Both of them now are opposing Trump in their different ways.
But that's also indicative of the male hierarchical structure that see. Here's the thing. Any female in a white male dominated society, any female, whether she be white or black, Asian, Hispanic, Latino, whatever,
right?
If she poses herself as someone who cannot be controlled, they're going to do all in their power to make sure that entity is silent. That's why, Trump is now against Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she was the biggest boot polisher of Trump there was at one point in time. Okay. Now, and then you had this back and forth between the two of them, with Jasmine Crockett and Marjorie Taylor Greene, but Jasmine Crockett has also taken the president, vice president, the Congress to task with facts. Okay. And in a white, male dominated structure,
Mm-hmm.
that is a threat. That is the enemy.
Right.
And then what they do is they creep into our neighborhoods.
Right.
And they turn us against our own people.
Right.
It's happened time and time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
So what we need to do is we need to start looking at what the actual problem is.
Right.
The actual problem is exactly what I said: a white male dominated structure.
Right. Right.
That is the problem.
Right. But
that is the problem not only in the United States, but around the world.
Are they losing their grip, or are they tightening their grip? Which one?
They're trying to maintain their grip. And see, here's something that I believe that we really need to focus on is why, if you really look at it, the biggest ally of the United States, the two biggest allies of the United States, that being Canada and the UK, because of who is in the presidential office now, they've backed away from us as a country. Okay, they're not backing certain things. All right, the European Union has decided that at current time they're not going to support the war.
Right.
And other things, but we have to see that this world power is slowly but surely losing its grip of authority. This is why you see on the continent all of these what we would think are independent nations. They're like, no, we must be one. And if the rest of us would get that kind of mentality and learn how to stick together and fight the good fight, rather than trying to keep status quo. No, we've got to be fair and equitable. Yeah. Where's justice? Where is the justice?
Right. What's happening here is that if you continue to fight within a system that was not built for you, you'll never win. Exactly. Yeah, you will never be a part of that system. So what you need to do is you need to fight a different way. You need to set a different set of goals and strategy that is going to pertain to really building you up or building up the structure that you want to support, as opposed to trying to work within that structure. I believe that's what Jasmine Crockett was doing, is that she believed that she would go out and she would expand the vote. That was her strategy. She needs to expand the vote and energize the electorate, which I believe she did. I believe that the majority of the people that did vote for her was African American, but she did not get the white female liberal vote. And to me, that was very disappointing, because I kept seeing on social media from people that I know, well, I really like Jasmine Crockett, and it was a tough decision, but I had to make a decision of who was the most electable. Now, granted, Texas has not had anyone in there. Beto O'Rourke, who was extremely popular in Texas, didn't win. The lady with the tennis shoes, I can't think of her name right offhand, who ran for Senate prior to him, she was extremely popular as well. She did the filibuster in the Texas House. She was extremely popular. But the bottom line, they haven't had anyone in there in 30 years. And they don't care. To me, they don't care. They're accustomed to losing, just like in York County, Pennsylvania. They're accustomed to losing, but at least they, as the white structure of the party, maintains the power. Until you can be more diverse and include people 100% into the Democratic Party, then you will never win a race in Texas. That is it. Now, is it racist? Is it about 10% of the population won't vote for you because you're African American? Absolutely, that is true. But when people, until they are suffering like they are on the East Coast, or
Mhm.
until they're suffering like the Midwest or in Iowa or in Ohio, where the farms are being impacted, the factories are closing in Pennsylvania, they will not, they will continue to do the same thing and try to hold and maintain power. And this is what's wrong with America overall, is that we continue to have a structure where we want to have two Americas, where it's the African Americans and then the white structure of America maintaining this culture here. So it's
I got,
extremely ethnocentric, how the
I got,
party is
I
run.
got a question. Can can we can the Democrats take Texas in the presidential, even though they may continue to falter on the congressional level? You don't think so?
I
Eh,
don't think about that.
Look,
Can
this
The
is
only one that they actually
can the
voted
right
for,
can the
yeah,
right the
yeah,
right candidate and I say that kind of loosely because
yeah.
that means you're going to have to galvanize these same fractured people we're talking about here.
uh,
Um,
to
is
my
there
knowledge,
is there
the only
somebody that can
Democratic
energize?
candidate that they elected,
Uh,
to my memory, the only Democratic candidate that they elected was Obama for a second term, to my knowledge,
In Texas?
is in Texas, whether it was his first term
No,
or his second term.
they didn't. Yeah, Obama didn't win Texas.
Okay, so yeah, well, then
He got
I'm
close
I
because
stand
African Americans came out.
right, because
yeah,
See,
African.
that was the energy. That was the purplish part of it.
yeah,
Is that he did energize the African American vote. This is what they're scared of, is that the vote will be energized. But right now, the vote has been tampered. It's like you lit that fire, but now you've poured water on it now. So now you're going to have to re-energize that vote to come out. So you have 2 years to determine if you're going to be able to re-energize whatever candidate runs again, in the election. You'll have to re-energize them again, because I think first of all, I think African Americans underperformed in Texas anyway, but in terms of early voting, that's what I hear.
Okay,
But so she did energize some, but those same biases apply, with African Americans too, in terms of women being there, the electability, and so on and so forth. But the bottom line is that she did energize. Yeah, she did energize and vote, and so did Obama. But when you start seeing those numbers that say, "Oh, Texas can turn," Texas is becoming purple. It was only a couple of things of this. It was only because the African American vote. Now
so
the African Americans came out, they didn't get what they want. They're
so
going to stay out. I don't think Talarico is going to win.
let me state a delusion. Um, Kamala Harris, if she comes back around, one, I think she still has a strong chance of winning the nomination because she can run on she was right. That's how I see it. That she could run on that she was right. And secondly, um, they buzzed about Texas concerning her the first time.
Hmm.
Now that things have happened, we've had all of the crazy take place.
Yeah.
in
Can
spite of her
she?
being right.
Yeah, can she? Or maybe I think he's a flawed candidate right now, Gavin Newsom. But can she turn him out the second go around? Because now she has name ID. I'm just thinking this through because I think that I think that she is now what they wanted her to be, a battle tested candidate. She went through this whole thing with Trump. She's like she's like the basketball team that keeps losing in the finals, but finally they learn, they break through and they can win. I think that she could very well shock us um, with her campaigning skills the second time around with name ID. What do you guys think about that?
I think she's got to do two things.
Mm.
And these are important things for her to do. Yes, she's got name recognition. Yes, she was absolutely right. In fact, in her debate against Trump, she took him through grand jury, pre-trial, trial, just awaiting sentencing. She knocked him out. Here's the thing that she has to do, and this is where she's going to have to focus if she's going to get us. When I say us, I mean the black male vote.
Right.
She's going to have to step up and do some more collectively in that arena, because the black male vote is the one that stepped away from her this past election. Okay.
How did the black male vote do? At least on a base level right now, Monica. Do you know how did it do in Texas for Jasmine? Because she could be a bellwether for the black male vote in Texas. As a
So I think when you talk Jasmine and Kamala, you're talking two different groups here. First of all, yeah,
because Jasmine's more,
yeah.
and I don't mean this to sound, offensive, but she's a homegirl. She's in the tribe. As far as how they perceive her, I see Kamala very much as a part of us and our life, and and her experience at Howard University in regards. But we can talk about that in another part.
Yeah,
but
we really do need to talk about that too, because there's a whole dynamic with African American males that is really not understood by me, because I think that when it comes to our approach professionally and just really in life in general, that honestly, I think African American women are more authentic and more courageous when it comes to, addressing and dealing with them. And that could be dealing with with white males and white females. And it could be just really our simple, our familiarity with them, being in the house, being, working for them domestically, understanding their culture and their cues, where our African Americans worked in the males worked in the field. I think our approach is just different all the way around. Collectively, it's problematic for me because it sets us at odds with each other. And every vote counts when it comes to an election. So if you have 5% of the population saying, well, I'm going to vote for Trump instead of Kamala, we have to address also our biases with women as well, because remember, a lot of African American males did not vote for Hillary Clinton either. And I looked at her during those trials, during that inquisition that they did just wow. And I'm like, wow, this woman is extraordinary. I mean, she's so smart, she's so intelligent. And
you mean Hillary? You talking about
Hillary.
Yeah, you know what? I think that is the vote that we most. The way I feel about Hillary is that is the vote that America will come to regret the most, because of
that was the first time.
Yeah, because that first loss to Trump, that's that people do not know, and I must say, because I was still learning about Hillary back in the day, and then when I got a chance to really understand her chops, that I'm like, wait a minute, now this woman, they said it all the time, she's very much Bill's equal, and that is for sure a lot the case. I mean, she's a formidable person, and even we won't get into how she just handled this whole Epstein thing recently, but that is the vote that we will come to regret when we look back 30 years or whatever. I really think so. Bishop, you're about to say something.
one of the things that hurt Hillary Clinton specifically was what she did to Gaddafi.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And she and Obama.
That was international, though.
Okay, yes, but
I don't think anybody understands that in the United States.
You have to look at when you get into certain demographics, come out of these groups, such as the Nation of Islam, such as these other Afrocentric groups,
right?
That say, hey, listen, well, but they have a lot of influence.
They do have influence
in American males.
And they have a lot of influence in the male.
I will respectfully disagree with you on that, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, here's the reality, though. Even in the Christian church, okay, African American males, they have a particular thing that they're hearing and that they're looking for. And once they hear something that's contradictory to where they want to go, they shut the door. We shut the door. That's it.
That's a gender bias.
If wherever the information, if it's coming out of the pulpit, if it's coming, Minister Farrakhan, whoever it's coming from.
Well, it ends up being whatever hits the streets. Like I think a good way of saying it is whatever hits the
barbershop.
Right. So once it hits the streets, what will happen is it evades the national narrative. So people don't really know what that conversation is in the streets, in the barbershop, all those places. And what happens is, because men tend to operate almost clandestinely amongst themselves, and how they feel, and they're not necessarily going to take to social media and always talk about it. They're not going to have a big megaphone concerning it, but they hold these feelings and they're transferring them to other black men, and those guys are driving trucks. They don't have time to be on Facebook, or they're doing manual labor jobs or things like that. So their sentiments are held more tightly to the vest by nature of how they're living their lives. And you have a whole group of people that can tip the needle at 3%. Like if you get 3% drop off in the male vote, the black male vote, that can have a great impact on a lot of the outcomes.
So you have Hillary that whatever bias they had, I think it's gender bias. When it comes down to it, they have in the back of the mind, I don't really want a woman as president, but then there's something that they can attach to it. Like with Kamala, they were able to attach her record as attorney general and say that she put X amount of men in when she was a defense attorney in the jail system. So therefore, that's the reason why we're not voting for her. And with Hillary, well, we just don't like her tone, whatever the situation was with her, but it all comes down to a gender bias. And so those are biases that set in with males about the electability or the ability for women to lead, where we consistently know that women have led throughout the world and that America is the only time. And by the way, Trump can only win if a woman is running. So I don't think he can beat any other man out for president, but it's that gender bias. And then his overt bullying behavior lends to the appearance of strength for males and oftentimes for women as well. And it's really it's really sad that we're letting these biases impact the way this country is being ran right now.
Well, question,
Mayor, I agree with you, but I don't think it's a. I think it takes to quote this current president, it takes a low IQ person to do what they're doing. Okay, when you have a president who feels so free to mock people with handicaps, okay? To target people who are of ethnic, different ethnic origin other than European, you've got a problem, okay? And if America is going to be what it says it is, you see, because me personally, I'm tired of the bull jive. Either you're going to be it or don't be it. And what you've proven to me in my short amount of time on this earth is that in spite of what you say, you're never going to be what you say you're going to be. Okay? So if that's the case, we've got to start to call apples, oranges, and really indicate who these people are. It takes a nation of low-minded people to elect somebody like he's smart in one way, but as a human being, he's horrible. Okay? So now let me show you how smart this guy is. He knows that if there is a war, there will be no election. What was one of his campaign promises? You Christians, and he was talking specifically about white evangelicals, you Christians, you won't have to vote anymore. And he's putting that in play. So we have to see, this is the fabric of this place that we're living in. This is what this place is made of.
Right.
And until we recognize the reason why they won't want you to be woke is because you can call them on their BS. That's why they don't want you to be woke. But we need to wake up. We need to say, hey, no, this is not working. Okay, let's put a system together from the ground roots back up, so that equality, justice, and not biases can prevail. Until we do that, we keep having these conversations about this president did this and this president did that and so on and so forth. In the meantime, we are losing the very ability to live our lives in freedom. Not that we ever really had it, but we keep playing their game, like you were saying before, that structure. We keep playing their game, and we're losing the battle. The battle has always been about our freedom. People who look like us, freedom. And yes, they'll allow you to play at the table for a while, but they're never going to let you take control of the game.
So back to the thing with Jasmine. Yeah, well, back to the thing with Jasmine and this situation. Do we continue to pour the resource into Texas, or do we, for the sake of now, I'm not saying always and forever, but for now, do we write off Texas and try and pick off some of these other states? Because this is about electoral math in the big picture.
Yeah. So with Texas, you can't just write off Texas. I mean, you just can't write off Texas. So you have to be there and you have to show face. And I'm assuming you're talking about the presidential election, since we're now going in to Well, the general election is going to be settled, and I'm telling you right now, it's going to be all Republican. John Cornyn. I was hoping it was Ken Paxton, but it's John Cornyn, and fairly safe Trumper, and Ken Paxton. He's just wildly out there. He's too radical.
But he's popular to some degree, Manika. That's the thing about it.
Well, yeah, he's a Trumper, but John Cornyn's also very popular too. And I will tell you that, while consistently Democratic, we vote consistently Democratic because we need to vote consistently Democratic to save our civil rights. And
Right.
so this is not the case for white folks, unfortunately. They're
Mhm.
voting for other issues. They're voting, for, maybe economic, environmental, and abortion and environmental is like the big issue, especially for the women.
Right.
They're voting that way. But I will
Right.
tell you, if the majority of white men vote Republican, then the majority of their wives are going to vote alongside them if it means keeping economic, stability in their household. So, even the woman vote at this time is becoming null and void. And we've seen it time and time again we've seen it with Jasmine Crockett, because I believe if she had gotten support from white women, this would be a very different issue right
Did,
now.
did
But
she
she
make a
didn't.
mistake? Did she make a mistake of running a campaign totally writing off the Trump voter?
So
You know, I
this is
think
the prime. We're
Jasmine
talking about the
Crockett would be
primaries now. Yeah. So the
Right.
primary is only Democrats. Yeah. So the
But I
primary.
heard that Republicans, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I heard that there were Republicans jumping over to vote in the Democratic primary. Is that
They
is that is that true, or
Even if it is true, they voted for Talarico, right? So why did they vote for Talarico?
most likely? Most
Okay,
likely.
so even if they did jump over, and it may be a few that says, in my thing, I don't believe that Jasmine Crockett, they were scared of Jasmine Crockett. So if they voted, they did not vote for Jasmine Crockett. They
Uh,
voted for Talarico because they knew that Talarico could not win against Cornyn or Paxton. I want to really, really state that Jasmine Crockett, had she won this race in the primary, could have won statewide.
uh-huh.
She could have won statewide because she would have been the designated nominee, and the Democratic Party would have had to throw all their dollars, all of their support behind
Right.
her, get her on the page where she could be more centered, and then she would have been able to run the race, because it was something so different
Mm-hmm.
to have someone of her capacity and of her energy level to get people in. Not only that, it would have energized the African American vote, which is what you need to
Mm-hmm.
win statewide. If Black folks stay home, which I'm suspecting they're going to do with Talarico, even if you have 5 to 10%, and I'm seeing it on the social media posts right now, and I know how they do. Remember, they okay whether it's a Democrat or Republican in office. They don't care.
Right.
So, because
Right.
they know how the Democratic Party is. They are not fond, African Americans are not fond of the Democratic Party in Texas.
Right. Right.
Okay, so
Oh, they're
yeah,
they're becoming
yeah,
less
yeah.
and less fond of it nationwide too, though.
Well,
That's
they're becoming less and less fond of it nationwide, but in Texas, because they've been just dogged so much, I'm telling you, they do not, and they don't care about the, blacks in
right.
Texas. They don't care. And so if they stay home, if you have 5% stay home, Talarico loses.
Right.
That
Right.
is it.
Yep.
Anytime you see that purple,
I believe
you see, there's the polling comes up, and you see that it came so close between Trump and Kamala, is because African American women came out and voted, and African American men did too, even though maybe 5% of them didn't vote for her, but it was enough women that came out to support her that really started people looking to say the tide may turn.
Right.
in this election if you energize the right people, because really it's always about energizing the right people. And when it comes out, it's about getting your base out.
Mhm,
Talarico has to get his base out. And
mhm,
when you talked about Gavin Newsom against Kamala,
uh-huh.
yeah, that's an interesting thing too. I like Gavin Newsom. I like his energy and all that. I don't know if he has that type of national ability.
Yeah,
I don't think he
that's remains to
resonates
be
with
seen.
every group.
I think he's actually right now woodshedding his thing. He's trying to refine it now because he's been doing these international trips and different conferences and summits and things like that. We'll see. It remains to be seen how he fares. And then there's still the candidate that we don't know yet that may jump out of nowhere that can basically take that democratic stage and snatch the spotlight. So we got to look out for that. I want to jump. We're going to come back to this, but I do want to jump to something. And what I'm going to take us to the war. The war that's not a war, which they say that we are at war, but we're really not doing a war because, war is not what we're about. But, we're going to try and get this war done. That's kind of what's going on right now. So I'm going to play this because this is important, I think. And it's to something I've just have been talking about recently. Check this out.
State Department has now urged American citizens to leave more than a dozen Middle Eastern countries. And this includes cities like Dubai,
Yeah.
also asking its people to leave Israel. United States pounded Iran on Monday in a campaign that US President Donald Trump said would likely take several weeks. Tehran and its allies hit back against Israel. Gulf states and targets critical to the world's energy production. Well, the intensity of the attacks, the killing of Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and the lack of any apparent exit plan set the stage for a prolonged conflict with far-reaching consequences. Safe havens in the Middle East, like Dubai, have seen incoming fire. Hundreds of thousands of airline passengers are stranded around the globe. Oil prices have shot up. US allies have pledged to help stop Iranian missiles and drones. Well, with no sign of the conflict abating anytime soon, Trump had said operations are likely to last 4 to 5 weeks, but that he was prepared to go far longer than that.
All right. So, so I wanted to play that for one big reason. I've had plenty of exchanges with people, and I told them through the duration of this administration, I don't think I'll be traveling outside the country because, if I go, I may go for an extended period of time, uh, or it's not necessarily traveling outside the country, but I wouldn't consider moving outside the country either right now. Just for the reason of it's so unpredictable of what's going to happen. There are a lot of American citizens now that are stranded.
Yeah.
In Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
And let's not forget the airport got bombed. So there goes your runway to get off the ground.
Yeah.
And the attacks are random because we have to understand. I was saying, America is going to fight their war, but the Iranians are going to fight their war. And their war is always asymmetric. They have so many sleeper cells around the world that at any moment stuff could pop off in any nation. But I'm saying my greater point is that he launched this with no warning to American citizens. Get out, you know, be prepared wherever, if you are traveling to the Middle East, especially, I urge you all to get home. This was just done, I guess, because we were coming up on a new, we just had the Clintons testify, because if you notice, they testified and then the bombs started flying. So I think that we're looking at we're really looking at a level of chaos in regards to American citizens, their families. The soldiers now are being drug in. We've already had some casualties of what's supposed to be a quote unquote surgical operation. And we know that there is a very justifiable reason why America never tried to jump into any type of true conflict with Iran. But here we are. Bishop, I'm going to let you decipher that, because there are a lot of
I think
implications.
there's a lot of diversionary tactics going on with this war. That's number one. Number two is
Talk a little louder, Bishop, too. I'm sorry. Your mic is low. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay. I think there's a lot of diversionary tactics going on with this war. I think it you know, again, it's meant to steer our attention away from things that are pertinent here, such as the Epstein files, such as, you know, whether this current president and his entire administration is competent. So that's one part of it. Another part of it is that when you have the leader of the state of Israel pulling threads and buttons, pushing buttons all over to do his bidding, we've got to be careful of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one of the main problems that we're you know, because our people do not even know who they are. And they look at the current state of Israel and they think that those are the people that we're supposed to protect and bless and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say that's foolishness, because you know, then you really have not read the scripture, and your pastor or your spiritual leader has not told you who you are.
Right.
Because we are the people of the book.
Right.
I think that we as a collective, I'm not talking about as Americans, but I'm talking about as a collective Black people, have to start understanding that we need to get ourselves together, because this world, as we knew it, is in the midst of a vital change.
Mm-hmm.
And if we are not in position to step into our authority rapidly as a unified entity, we're going to lose the whole thing.
Right.
We need to understand that first of all, I don't need to go over there now. Why would I go over there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, unless I'm going to support my people.
I must say I felt bad for this young lady. She went over there to celebrate her 30th birthday. She was having a great time and everything, and then all of a sudden the bombs just started flying. And she said she never cried like that in her entire life. She cried her eyeballs out just before she was scheduled to leave, and now she's stranded. And hearing about what it costs for you to get a driver or to get someone to navigate you out of the area so you can get to an airport, and then all of your whole flight schematic is going to be crazy now to make your way back. I must say I felt a little bad for her.
I mean, here's what you got to realize is that so far as a governmental mindset on that, she is deemed as a casualty of war.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't care about
that. They have no value on her life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, on her safety. Okay, and if this president actually valued the life of Americans as he says he does, like you said, he would have done some things preemptively. He would have said some things. Hey, it's getting ready to get hot. This is a hotbed. Be careful. But then again, did he or did he not do that another way? Okay, did he or did he not shut down travel to different places that he was going to bomb anyhow? And is this a setup? Is bombing Iran only a setup to go into other places as they go down into the African continent?
I'm wondering, is this a dual thing where one, give Netanyahu what he wants because Netanyahu probably has all the blackmail that he needs on Trump, and second, is this another way of Trump being able to steal some money in some kind of way?
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know if it's about stealing money, but I do know it's about stealing resources.
Well, that's what I mean. The resources for the money.
I have a lot of friends and church brethren in Nigeria, and they believe that what Trump did, by helping them bomb an Islamic regime, was they call him Daddy Trump now. Here's the thing, strategically speaking, is that where the bombing took place gives almost direct access into the Sahel states.
Mm-hmm.
And those Sahel states are the ones who ousted the French. They started the Sahel State Union, and those are the three majors. So that's Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Okay, you have other things that are going on all across the continent. And so here we are. Instead of us, and I'm not going to use the term us, instead of the powers that we supposedly have in place, focusing on what they're supposed to do for their people, here, we're worried about everything else. Here's the duplicity of this orange. Excuse me, I almost said something else. Is he said there will be no wars, no new wars, okay?
Yeah.
But every time you turn around, he's ready to press a button, okay? We've got to understand who this guy is. He is the harbinger of death and destruction. He wants to maintain white supremacy, Eurocentric dominance over the entire world. And even if, watch this, because you're seeing it play out, even if the European Union doesn't want to walk with him, he's still going to do it and say, well, you should have been with me. Okay?
Yeah.
Your family, so we're going to let you in. All right?
Are we pushing where we are totally isolated from Europe and also the other side? Could we end up being? Could we be a country with no allies? And to some degree, I mean,
no.
Because remember, Iran is backed by Russia and China. So now you're interfering into their alliance by bombing them.
I mean, when you're talking about people with power, countries with power, and I'm talking about military force as well as economic force, the United States is rapidly losing allies because of the actions of the current administration, because of the very moral fiber of the current administration. So we're going to see, smaller allies of the United States, in the Caribbean and certain places in South America and so on and so forth. But I guarantee you this: if the stuff hits the fan, which it's going to, I don't think that another superpower called Japan is going to back the United States. I don't think that South Korea, okay, as good of an ally as they've been, is going to stand with the United States, especially under current conditions and under current leadership. I don't see it happening. Okay, so what you're seeing is, and I said this a few months ago, I'm going to bring you back to it, is that we are seeing the fall and destruction of the United States as we know it.
Oh, that's that. Yeah, if nothing's more clear, that is.
So don't be dismayed. Don't be shocked when you see these things happening. These people that are in power are trying to maintain their power and authority over the world. Okay, when you have a major ally, King Charles of England, step away from you. He never liked Trump to begin with. Okay, step away from you. He ousted his own brother because of his shenanigans with Trump and Epstein. We've got to take account of that. When you see France asking, what was it, about 12, 13 months ago, for help, when the Sahel states were saying, hey, we're not letting you back in, we're kicking you out, we don't want your francs, we don't want this. And the current administration said, well, let them use American dollars. Okay. They're not using American dollars. They don't care about American dollars.
Right.
So France has backed off of the United States.
Well, we can't use Spain's airport resources. UK is coming out strongly about on this. No, Canada's busy just trying to make sure it's forming its own alliances now to get off of American entanglement. Now, I do have a question though to you.
Watch, Germany is going to be next.
Yeah, and Germany is very key for us militarily. But let me ask you.
Then that's going to be followed by Australia.
Right. Let me ask you this, Monica. Though, does this unleash? Because right now we have gas prices being affected directly because of this. The Strait of Hormuz has been blocked or being obstructed by Iran. We're going to see the economic impact, if not now, very, very soon. Now I'm concerned that we've had international terror kind of quiet here for quite some time in the United States, comparative to that little wave we had going on a decade ago, or a little somewhere there. Do you feel that this is going to greatly increase not domestic, but terrorism here in the United States as
Yeah.
well as around the world.
Yes, and Trump is yeah, he's the causation is going to definitely be what's happening in the world, but there are factors that are in place now that weren't in place 20 or 30 years ago, and that's the internet and the influence of these offshoot groups to influence young people to, to independently go out and do domestic terrorism. So I want to emphasize, that's important as well. Like you have groups. So, for example, once Hillary bombed Gaddafi, which was a
Mhm.
big mistake. And we had talked about that earlier. And we understand that because we know Gaddafi was the one that really essentially held Africa together in terms
Mhm.
of peace. He was the peace mecca there. But once it happened, and you had offshoots of Boko Haram that went into
Mhm.
sub-Saharan African and
Right.
we all, went into the upper Nigerian countries and kidnapped kids and these Islamic groups that they're offshoots, but they're offshoots of people that are sitting at home in their basement and
Right.
or holed up in their bedrooms and their parents can't get them out, but they're listening to all of this chatter about what's happening in the world. And then we had an incident in Austin just a couple of days ago where a Senegalese individual went onto Sixth Street and murdered several people with a shotgun. These are all offshoots of these independent groups that are coming up. That even though they're collectively not part of a war, the propaganda that has been placed out there, that's on TikTok, that's on um, really on TikTok and Instagram and on Facebook, people are listening to. And so if you have the right type of mindset, you tend to take into those type of groups. So I definitely see some domestic terrorism going on there.
Mhm.
Also, just recently, Puerto Vallarta, there's this offshoot of
Yeah,
all of these
I heard. Yep.
yeah, cartel groups. And they are saying that many of those cartels were part of what was going on in Venezuela. So the attack
Mhm.
on Venezuela is just really spurring, some cartel activity in Mexico. So now people are not wanting, and that's going to impact their tourist season, and that's a primary source of their economic funding for that country. There is to have tourists come into the country, but now it's not deemed safe. So, what's going on with Trump? I don't think that Trump has really delved into it. I think this is a ploy to, number one, it's a diversion.
Mhm.
Number two, it's a way to start delving into, just as Archbishop Chase said, to start delving into Africa, to
Mhm.
start penetrating some of those resources they don't have access to. And my concern is that Kushner is involved now in some of these talks. And so anytime Kushner is involved in some of these talks, there's definitely, some ways like how I'm going to get, something out of this. But,
Mhm.
the truth of the matter is anytime you have a war, it's, that means that you're going to have contractors, you're going to have defense builders, it supports a whole economy
It
of
does.
yeah, with American dollars, to support the war. You need more bombs, you need all this, that, and the other. So you have companies like Halliburton
Mhm.
and Exxon Oil and
Yep.
all of
Like.
these companies that
Yep.
really
All of
benefit
that. Yep.
from the war.
Yep. My
So
office, I had one of my offices next to Lockheed. So,
yeah,
but all,
so
all, all the government contractors. Yeah. So.
yeah, so
Mhm.
now they're good to go. Uh,
Mhm.
they're they're good to go. But at the end of the day, who really loses is the American people and our
Mhm.
reputation around the country. And I just want to go back to what you said earlier about our European allies. They will do exactly what they did to Germany. They will disassociate themselves with Germany. This is when Hitler was in, when Nazism was going on. They'll disassociate themselves and they'll wait until there's so much carnage before they go in and start, you know, acting against Germany. Yeah,
Mhm.
it gets so bad that they won't go in. They
Mhm.
won't go in right away. but they'll, but just like him, he alienated all the European countries. Well, he went into a lot of the European countries, but the allies, he alienated to a point that, people had to go in. America had to go in, but we only went in just a little bit, just to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
But he had created so
Right.
much carnage before that,
Right.
before we ever did go in and go into it. So,
Right.
that's my take on it. I just believe that it really is important as to who we get into office,
Mhm.
and that when we're fighting wars, that we're fighting real wars that are effective, and it's not just about taking over the 67th parallel, because once it's Iran, then it'll be Iraq, and they want to get to that 67th parallel where that's where the oil is, and they want to control the oil.
Yeah, it's all about the oil.
It is.
I think they want to. I think he is making a play to. Well, one, he's going to shave off his money, and then he's going to want to try to dominate over OPEC. That could be the next thing that he would be
Mhm.
trying to do, and if he can get his claws into uh, Iran and penetrate the Middle East with his alliance with Qatar. Let's not forget them. He could be trying to make that type of play. Now, this is what I firmly believe, though. I believe that he's going to do a lot of damage, but I don't think he's going to ultimately succeed.
No, they never do.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big cleanup job. He's one of the people that you're going to know was here. But one, my money's on the cheeseburgers and fries. I'll start there. And two, there's still enough out here that could stop him. Now, and you guys can tell me if I'm overly optimistic to this point. I think the Supreme Court is looking at, especially John Roberts, Amy Coney Barrett, are looking at, we thought that those decisions we gave him would be good, a good bone to flip him, but now he's it's the same miscalculation everybody makes about him. If I give him this, then maybe he'll lay off, or maybe he'll that, or whatever. But he's never that kind of person. The latest rulings that are going against him, and he's man babying about them, and he's kicking and screaming in his crib, are an indication that the court is trying to claw back some power. And I think when the rubber meets the road to this issue of war and Congress, I think that he's also going to be facing an uphill battle and headwinds going towards the midterms, and they're going to try and rein his power in. The biggest linchpin is Mike Johnson in Congress. I think he's doing his best to try and run as much interference as possible. But they're about to have a vote on the War Powers Resolution, and also I just read a report as well that they have voted to the Oversight Committee just voted Pam Bondi to be drug in on subpoena over Epstein now, and Republicans voted for that as well. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that he's going to do a lot of damage, but he won't prevail. But we're going to still have lost a lot and going to have to. And it doesn't mean that America won't be taken down, because they will never look at us the same after Trump. That's how I feel. They will have formed new alliances, new economic structures, and the dependency upon the United States is not going to be like it was. Bishop, you ready to say something?
Well, I could say a few things about foreign dependency upon the United States. And believe it or not, that's probably one of the only things that I agree with is that we should not be the one who foots the bill for the world. We should not be the ones who are first in the fight, especially when somebody else starts. We should not be the ones who are putting our troops on the line. Each and every skirmish at the whim will of Israel or the European Union. I agree with that.
Right.
I agree with that. But I also say that earlier today I read that there are several MAGA Republicans who are backing away.
Yeah.
From and I'm talking about in Congress and in the Senate, that are backing away from Trump because of his antics.
Right.
It's a black eye on the United States when your president offends so many foreign dignitaries. It's ridiculous.
Right.
Not too long ago, there was a whole African regime, and this guy has the nerve to say to an African president, "Your English is so good. Where did you learn how to speak?" And this is the kind of asinine stuff.
He's been offending black people since 1970. We can put a stamp on him.
I can't remember whether he went to Oxford or Cambridge, where he was educated, but this guy is educated. He speaks English better than Trump. So
Yeah.
I'm tired. I think we have to get to the point where we say we got to brace ourselves because there is going to be some turmoil here on the homeland, but it's going to be coming from within. Because and then there's going to be people who are angry because we're losing the international fight. Well, we're losing the international fight that we should have never been in to begin with.
Right.
When you have so many issues here in your homeland, how dare you be the moral judge to any other country? How dare you? If you have such, you talk about human rights, you want to talk about human rights, and you have yet to make reparations, lying bastards. Come on, who do you think you are? I get to the point where I want to grab these people, I want to shake them. Here's what we've got to do, and I'm gonna close out with this because I've got to go. Unfortunately, is that African Americans have to understand that this is not our system.
Right.
We've got to return to community. We've got to learn how to love and support each other and build up each other.
Right.
We've got to learn how to support our own businesses and let that currency circulate amongst us 7 to 12 times before it gets out of our community. We're not doing that. Okay?
Yeah.
Part of it is by design of the system that we're in. But damn it, we can make our own system amongst ourselves if we would only unify.
I think that's the only real answer is that, I mean, we've come against this 1,000 times, and we have to really develop our own ecosystem. I'm very much into ecosystems as a technologist and an economist, and that we find ourselves not so dependent upon those who are not in our favor. Bishop, before you go, we're all getting ready to go. I got one thing I'll bring up today. I'll get on the other stuff next week. let me ask y'all. You both, you know both of them. Should we talk about Tourette's, or Floyd Mayweather might be going broke after making
Well, let's
1.2
talk about Tourette's, and then we'll do Mayweather next week.
Okay. So, you got
Is that
time?
all right with you?
You got time? You got time for me to play the video real quick, Bishop?
Sure. For this, I'll make time.
Let's throw this up. Hold on. Here we go.
BAFTA Awards, which are the British equivalent of the Oscars, and in a shocking moment, a racial slur was yelled out as Sinner stars Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo presented an award.
Delroy and I are delighted to be presenting the first BAFTA of the night for a vital part of movie making.
We're here to celebrate the artists who expand what's possible on screen.
Michael and Delroy both clearly stunned. However, they maintained composure and continued on presenting. The slur was shouted by Tourette's activist John Davidson, who is the inspiration behind the BAFTA-nominated film I Swear. Later in the show, BAFTA's host Alan Cumming apologized for John's actions.
Tourette's syndrome is a disability, and the tics you've heard tonight are involuntary, which means the person who has Tourette's syndrome has no control over their language. We apologize if you were offended.
At a BAFTA's after party, Delroy told Vanity Fair that he and Michael did what we had to do while they were on stage, but admitted he also wished someone from BAFTA spoke to us afterwards. BAFTA putting out a statement today saying they apologize unreservedly to Michael and Delroy and that they take full responsibility for putting our guests in a very difficult situation. They also note John chose to leave the auditorium and watch the rest of the ceremony from a screen. Meanwhile, Prince William and Princess Kate made their first appearances.
So without putting it up, Jamie Foxx tweeted. He said, "No, he meant that ish."
Absolutely.
So I want to ask the question.
Oh my gosh!
Is Jamie right? I know Bishop just already chimed in what he thinks. You think Jamie's right, Monica?
So, I mean, when I heard that, I responded on one of the posts that it had to be somewhere in his mind for a tick to come out, because it's just like you don't see two African Americans on stage and use the N-word. That has to be something that's in your mind, even though it was involuntary. You didn't mean to say it out loud. Your mind was thinking it. Then everyone started coming back saying, no, that's not how Tourette happens. It's involuntary and it comes out. And I'm like, there is no way a word that's relevant to a derogatory term of two African Americans that are on stage is just going to come out.
Especially at that time.
At that time.
Not a coinky dinky.
Yeah.
Not a coinky dinky.
Look, this is what we do know, and this is what I know at my old age. Okay, what I do know is that y'all don't care about us. You don't care about us. Now, individually, I have friends that are all different races, and I don't have a racist bone in my body, but I am very aware collectively that you don't care about me, so I'm going to care about myself. So I don't put myself in places where I'm not psychologically safe.
Well,
so that's where we are.
If you remember a video where Delroy was actually on a news panel, and the guy said, "Hey, white people can't use the N-word freely like black people and everything," and then he looked at him, leaned over, and said, "Say it." Remember? So I was wondering.
He offered to say it with him.
Right. Now I'm wondering, okay, the guy has Tourette's. I wondered if that video was lodged in his mind. Did he see that video somewhere and that thing was playing in his head and he just blurted it out?
Here's the thing. And I'm gonna be very quick with this. Is BAFTA should not have allowed a person like that who speaks whatever, like they said, they have no control. They said he has no control. You
Right.
should not put them in a situation
Right.
where they're going to be boisterous. That's number one. Number two is,
and that's why we in the church always had another section where the TV, we got good at putting the TV down there so you watch the sermon and the kids could whatever's going on happen over there. Right.
Right. But here's the reality.
I think the apology was worse than anything.
In the UK, everybody thinks that the UK is very advanced, racially and so on and so forth. And that's not the case. The UK is just as,
if not worse,
bigoted, just as hateful as the United States. They're just a little more dignified and sophisticated in the way they say it and display it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
they did.
This was a deep-seated reaction to seeing Black people
Mm-hmm.
in a position where were number one, they had some authority because they were presenting, I believe. Number two is they're successful.
Right.
Okay. So that is automatically a threat to them. So this guy only spoke what was on his heart. What does the scripture say? Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I gotta tell him right now, come here and say that.
Well, he's
Let
gonna
me see how much Tourette syndrome you have then.
He's gonna flash
when I start doing my Tourette syndrome back there in my woodshed.
He's gonna flash his medical card, Bishop.
Okay.
Well, I think this is what really made it worse, and this is what I need people. This is what I need white people to stop doing. Because I've heard them time and time again when something like that happened, they come and defend. Oh, he didn't mean to say it. Oh, he didn't mean to do it. That wasn't racist. Stop saying what people feel. You don't know what they feel, but your immediate response is to come and to minimize it or to say, no, that's just a part of his illness. To me, that was worse than the actual statement, the actual N-word being blurted out itself, is that someone came out to say that, but it's not true, because we know that when it comes down to it, it is about race, that the conversations that are being had behind closed doors is about, the anti-Black rhetoric. It's about closing off DEI. It's about closing diverse businesses so that they don't participate in quote unquote mainstream business opportunities. It is all about that. And that's all about seeking power, because you think that this one group that you brought to this country, by the way, is taking your resources away. And then you have the majority of people in this country that don't have the resources believing that someone else is taking it away, when in fact the ones that are taking it away are the autocrats from above, who are looking for additional playing fields to get more money. And so that's what's happening.
That's why the factory jobs left. That is why the skilled labor force has diminished, because they went overseas, because they can manufacture over there for less than half the price here. Yes, but I agree with you. They should not have tried to justify in any way, shape, or form what was said.
Right.
Okay. Whether he's sick or not, it should not have been said. Period. Okay?
And then, of course, as an actor, he said, well, I played him in a film. Like that was some type of, professional authority. It was just interesting.
Yeah. See, that
made me more angry than anything.
Where I'm from, that's the time that you find out that you are not made of steel. And see, this is the problem, and here's what we have to understand is, when they had us on those plantations and those cotton fields and so on and so forth, if we even looked at massa the wrong way, there were repercussions and consequences. Okay. All right. They're messing around here nowadays, and they're finding out that if you mess with some of us, you're going to have repercussions and consequences. Here's what we've got to do. And this is, respect isn't given, it's earned. Okay. I am tired of giving respect to people who are beneath me. We come from kings, priests, and prophets. They would have no concept of royalty if it was not for us.
Right.
They would not have civilization, which is a derivative of African culture that was Europeanized through Greece and through Rome. And here we are. We've got to understand, we've got to wake up and smell the coffee and start taking back, not asking for it, taking back what's ours. And the first thing that we got to take back is our self-dignity and our respect. So if Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo had went over there and slapped the snot out of them, I would have been happy.
Oh, that might have, helped them,
I would have been happy.
Might would have helped them take
violent.
One more step to wholeness.
It's not because I'm violent. It's because those actions, are codified. I'm sorry, he didn't really mean that. Come on, what are you talking about?
Well, and this is the thing, is that does this not speak to how easy it is for them to get a pass?
Yes.
And we have to sit. That was a real picture of real life. They had to sit there, take it right then and there, and continue to plow through it. And he gets a pass. And
I would have told him, keep the cameras rolling. We've got to take care of something. We'll be back after this. And here's the thing. The BBC could have easily bleeped it out before it hit over here because they had a 2-hour delay. But they didn't.
And so they came under some fire for that. Bishop, you gotta get ready for class. We're going to close out right here. We miss you, Reggie. Prayers for him and his family. He's at a funeral. Some of you know, and I want to thank you all for your condolences for me in the passing of my mom and my aunt on the same weekend. And Bishop, we want to send you our love because Bishop lost his brother. He's passed, and he is now in the middle of his homegoing process, his homegoing celebration process. So keep us here in prayer over here at Now What, boy. We're in the midst of life's battles, but we do thank you all. We do feel your love, and we thank you all so much for just being there for us, and we want to continue to be there for you. Well, everybody, this is Daryl Elliott, and I want to thank you so much for joining us here on What Now, and watch all of our videos on Believe Broadcasting. We got some new podcasts coming out soon, and we want you to keep an eye on that. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on all of our channels. And I just mentioned to the panel, our Facebook page. We need some more likes on there. So do me a favor, run over to Facebook, look for Believe Broadcasting. We want you to add to the community there because that's where we put our announcements of what's going on and new drops. We would appreciate that. It helps the algorithm all around. Thank you, guys. We love you, and we'll catch you the next time.
Thank you.
Take care. Let's see.